Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Ascot Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 18th of June, 2022. We're going to look at all of the races on the final day of the Royal Ascot meeting, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for racecourses around the world, and I mean it, around the world. So we have 7 races to look at. It looks like it's going to be a good card. Let's get to the opener, the 2:30 from Ascot, which is the Chesham Stakes. It's a listed stakes for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $135,000. Races for 2-year-olds here, of whose sire or dam have won a race a mile and a quarter over. This is really kind of a good prep race for the future horses of tomorrow for those classic distances. But we have 14 horses going 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs down the straightaway here at Ascot. Going to be, again, quick round, so just keep that in mind. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 6 horse here, Finn's Charm. Let's go 6-2-1 in the tri-cash trifecta. 6-2-1 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 6 horse, Finn's Charm. 2-year-old colt by Kingman. Mark Johnston trains 1. Joe Fanning gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came up in Scotland on the 5th of June at Musselburgh. 7 furlongs in a 2-year-old maiden race, and he won by 8 1/4 lengths that day. It took him 2 starts to break the maiden, but he got it done very easily. He sat back early, he quickened up nicely in the front end, and he quickened up a lot. It was a very easy run. Going back to the 7, has some early pace drawn on the stand side, which I quite like. I think he can improve a lot. His debut on the 18th of May at Yarmouth, going 6 furlongs in a 2-year-old novice race. He finished 3rd by 3/4 length that day. He was on the front end that day. He got overtaken, but he didn't go down without a fight. I do think he needed the race for experience, but, he really improved next start out. Coming here today to the 7 furlong trip off some decent runs, a very good run last time out. I'm going to give him a shot here at 12-1. You also have to give a shot to the 2 horse Alexandra. This 2-year-old colt by See the Stars. John Gosden trains 1. Frankie Dettori gets the mount. Most recently, they ran the horse at Yarmouth on the 26th of May. 7 furlongs in a novice race, and he finished 2nd by a nose that day. He stalked that day. He just couldn't get there late, but he again showed potential. Coming here today, I'm going to give him a shot in the plays pot. But to recap my selection for the 2:30, the first race from Ascot, it's the Chesham Stakes. Let's take the 6 horse Finn's Charm. Give kudos to the 2 horse Alzar. 6-2-1 tri-cash trifecta. 6-2 in your plays pot. The second race, the 3:05. It is the Group 3 Jersey Stakes. It's a Group 3 event for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $148,500. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 15 horses going the distance of ground of 1,400 meters or again, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the turf course. I'm going to take as a top selection here the number 10 horse, the 10 horse who is Samburo. Let's go 10-9-8 in the tri-cash trifecta. 10-9-8 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection 10 horse Samburo. 3-year-old colt by Kingman. John Gosden trains as 1 for Juddmonte. Frankie Dettori gets the mount. 7-1 here. The horse's most recent outing came in a Class 2 handicap at York. The 11th of May, 7 furlongs there on good ground, and he won by a half length and at 80 cents to the dollar. He sat in mid-pack most of the race. He had a little, trouble trip in the final 2, but when he got the squeeze through, he beat squeeze and you lose, and he squeezed to the victory. It was a very good race. Keep in mind the second place finisher did win next start out. 2 back, the horse in a seasonal reappearance came at Salisbury, 20th of April, 7 furlongs in a novice race, and he won by 3/4 of a length that day. And he sat back early. He got the to the front end, and he got the job done with a high weight. It wasn't the most impressive victories, but he still got the W there. And then at Yarmouth on the 11th of October, 7 furlongs in a novice race, he won by 1/3 lengths that day. He sat back early. He had a great turn of foot, and he got the job done. Coming here back to fast ground, which I think you should absolutely like on the stand side. I think the horse could really run well. I think the 9 horse Noble Truth is your second likeliest winner. He's getting a little class release from the King Charles Stakes at Newmarket. That came 7 furlongs on 29th of April, where he won by 6 lengths that day, and he put on a show against those very tough horses in that listed race. This race is not nearly as tough, and I think he should love the firm ground, should like the stand sound. I think he's sitting on a very good race. If you throw out of his most recent form cycle, if you throw out that Saudi race, he's been a very consistent horse, always running these good races. I'm going to give him a shot here at 3-1 in the plays pod. But to recount my selection for the 3:05, the second race from Ascot's, the Group 3 Jersey Stakes, let's take the 10 horse Samburo. Give kudos to the 9 horse Noble Truth. 10-9-8 tri-cash trifecta. 10-9 in your plays pod. The third race, the 3:40 from Ascot, it's the Group 2 Hardwicke Stakes. It's Group 2 event for for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $321,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of only 8 horses going 2,400 meters, or about a mile and a half on the turf course. I'm going to take here the number 3 horse, Hurricane Lane, as a top selection. Let's go 3-2-7 in the TriCash trifecta. 3-2-7 TriCash trifecta. Top selection 3 horse, Hurricane Lane. 4-year-old colt by Frankel. Charlie Appleby trains 1 for Godolphin. William Buick gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came 3rd of October in Longchamp, a mile and a half heavy ground in the Group 1 Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, and the horse ran a massive 3rd place finish by 3/4 length behind Toro Tasso, and he settled well. He quickened up a lot as a favorite, as a lukewarm 3-1 favorite. He just couldn't get there late, but first time against older horses in a very tough race on very demanding ground. I thought it was a decent run. Coming here to Ascot for the first time on fastest ground, which I think he should absolutely like. I think he's sitting on a lot better run, and I think he could do wonders here today. 2 back around the Group 1 St. Ledger at Doncaster. Soft ground, a mile 13/16 and 11th of September, and he won by 2 3/4 lengths. He sat back early, he slowly moved his way up, and then he had the race done at 3 furlongs from home. It was a very easy race for him there. First start back in 2 months. 2 months prior, he ran a Bastille Day at Longchamp, 14th of July, a mile and a half in the Group 1 Grand Prix de Paris, and he won by 6 lengths, and from a tracking position, he won quite easily. Before then, the Irish Derby at Dakar over the mile and a half, he won by a neck from a tracking position, very nicely done. But then he lost to his stablemate Adayar in the Kazoo Derby last year at Epsom over the mile and a half, where he just really wasn't handling the quirkiness at Epsom. But then won the Dante and won a conditions race at Newbury last year very, very nicely. He likes the firm ground. He's going to get it today. I know he's 3-5, but he's a very likely winner. But to recap my selection for the 340, the 3rd race from Ascot's to Group 2 Hardwicke Stakes, let's take the 3 horse Hurricane Lane. Let's go 3-2-7 in the TriCash trifecta. The featured 4th race now, the 420 from Ascot. It is the Group 1 Platinum Jubilee Stakes. It's a Group 1 event going for a purse of $1.35 million. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 27 horses entered, going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. Quite a lot of horses in this one. My top selection here, I'm going to take here the number 24 horse Sacred. I'm going to go 24-3-2 in the TriCash trifecta. And yes, call me crazy. I just gave you a TriCash in a 3 horse field and a 27 horse field. You can use them definitely all in the place pot and exact forecast combinations. But the 24 horse Sacred's my top selection. Is 4-year-old filly by Exceed Excel. William Haggis trains 1. Tar Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 14th of August in Newbury. Good ground, 7 furlongs in the Group 2 Hungerford Stakes, and he won by a length that day. He didn't have the best beginnings and best trips early on, but he settled well after that. He got the lead, and he won. It was the most impressive victories late, but he still got the job done first off, though, the refreshing. 2 back around the Group 1, 1,000 guineas at Newmarket, 1 mile on the 2nd of May, and the horse finished second by 4.5 lengths that day, and just never really got going. Never just didn't show up there. But before that, won the Neil Gwynn at Newmarket last April very, very nicely after a horrible beginning. And then the trio form, the worst race for this horse was the Chevrolet Park, where the horse just never really got going. Alcohol Free, who beat this horse and running back in this one today, ran a terrific race. This horse just really lost at 2 furlongs from home, but ran a very good second place finish in the Flying Childers in 2020 at Doncaster. Very good second place finisher in the Lother, and second place finish in the Queen Mary behind Campanelle 2 seasons ago. I like her a lot here today, coming back to 6. She doesn't need the lead. I think she's from tracking position on the inside. I think she could get the job done. I think you also have to use the number 3 horse here, the number 3 horse, who is, as my iPad craps out, it always likes to do it during these videos. I just don't know why. It's time for a new one. This this iPad I'm using is 10 years old now, so it's so old you have to chuck coal in it to make it work. But the second horse I would use would be the 3 horse Creative Cause. 4-year-old Gillen by DeBowie. Charlie Appleby trains as 1. William Buick gets the mount. Most recently in the Alquaz Sprint at Maidan over the 6, he finished 14th that day and never showed up. It just wasn't his day to win off the bench. He does his better running in the UK, and he likes running here at Ascot because he won on soft ground here in the fall in the Group 1 British Champion Sprint, winning by a length, and he just won quite easily on cruise control. Very good run there. Before that fast ground in the Sprint Cup at Haydock, he lost all chance at the beginning because he stumbled out of the gate. What can you do? He just has to stay afloat there. And then before that, in the Lennox Stakes at Goodwood, 7 furlongs there. He finished second by a neck. He just couldn't get there late. He had a little bit of a trouble trip, but he still ran his heart out there. And then July Cup, he finished 5th by 1 3/4 lengths that day. And again, he just couldn't get there late. But he did win here at the last Royal Meeting last year on soft ground in the Jersey Stakes, winning by 1/4 lengths from a mid-pack post. He really put on a show there. Come back here, second off the bench at 8-1. He's another valiant horse who I think could win. But to recount my selection for the 420, the 4th race from Ascot, it's the Group 1, $1.35 million Platinum Jubilee. Let's take as a top selection the number 24 horse Sacred. We'll give kudos to the 3-horse Creative Cause, 24-32 Tricast Trifecta. But like I said, 24-32, definitely using your plays pod, and you could definitely do them in exact forecast combinations. But let's head over to the 5th race, the 5 o'clock from Ascot, which is Wockingham Handicap. It's Class 2 Handicap, going for a purse $236,500, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 28 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. I'm going to take here the number 26 horse. The number 26 horse, who is, again, my iPad craps out. It's time for a new one. The 26 horse who is Apollo 1 will go 26.5 in your forecast exacta. 26.5 forecast exacta. Top selection number 26 horse Apollo 1. This 4-year-old gelded by Quano here. Benoit de la Sette gets to mount on this one. The horse's most recent outing came in a Class 2 handicap challenger at 6 furlongs 28th of May, and he finished 3rd by length that day. And he was with them early on, seeing some decent pace. He kind of hit the wall late, but he didn't go down without a fight. I thought it was a decent race. I know he's stepping up in weight a lot of class here today, but I think he should get a good trip on the fast ground, and I think he could really run a good race. His race here in the Pavilion Stakes in 2021, he showed potential that day where he had a little bit of a trouble trip. If he could show that race again today with a better trip, I think he could win against these tough horses. 2 back in Newmarket, 6 furlongs 30th of April in a handicap there. He finished 8th by 5 1/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked. First off the bench, he kind of hit the wall late. What can you do? He needed the race there. And then the Kachi Stakes before that at Linkfield over the 6th. He finished 9th by 11 1/4 lengths that day, and he lost all chance beginning because he didn't really break so clearly there. And then conditions race at Kempton, 6 furlongs on the 8th of January. He finished 5th by 4.5 lengths, and again, he didn't get out of the gate. You know, it's something a deal with him. He hasn't won since the 6th of March of 2021. That came at Linkfield over the 7 in a handicap where he won by length, coming from mid-pack. But like I said, if he could show some of those races like he did, like last time he ran here at Ascot last spring, I think he'd get the job done. I think another horse you have to use here would be the number 5 horse. The number 5 horse, who is again, this iPad, it's really getting annoying. The 5-horse Jumbie, William Buick gets on this 4-year-old gun by New Bay. Most recently in a handicap in Newmarket in late April, he finished 6th by 5 lengths. Not breaking. His last 3 starts, he didn't break. He did win here in the fall where he didn't break at a handicap in Newmarket. Came back in the Abernet off the bench and finished 3rd by 2.5 lengths, getting a little bit late, but again, didn't break. He's coming here to Ascot where he ran in the Commonwealth Cup last year, where he just didn't get a good trip on the very demanding ground. He likes to firm ground. He's going to get it today. We'll give him a shot here. He won here in July 2020 very, very nicely. And while I'm here looking over the race quickly, if I had to give you that 3rd horse for that crazy tri-cast here, I think the number 25 horse, who is, where are we? The 25 horse Fresh for Daniel Thudhope. I think he's another horse. He ran here in the Victoria Cup handicap in May, where he finished a decent 4th place finish. I think if he gets a good trip, he's been close but no cigar recently here. If he gets a good trip, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets into the winners enclosure. It's 7-1. Use him in your place pot also, and in your weird tri-cast in this race. But to recap my selection for the 5 o'clock 5th race from Ascot's the Wockingham handicap, let's take the 26 horse here as a top selection. Apollo 1. Give kudos to the 5 horse Jumbie, and I guess the 25 horse also, who is Fresh. 26 5 20 26 5 25. There's my tri-cast here in the Wockingham. Let's get to the 6th race of 5:35, which is the The sixth race to 535. It is the Golden Gate Stakes handicap. It's a Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $135,000. Race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 16 horses contesting the 2,000 meters, or a mile and a quarter on the turf course. I'm going to take as a top selection the 6-horse Blue Trail. Let's go 6-5-11 in the Tricast Trifecta. 6-5-11 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection 6-horse Blue Trail. 3-year-old Colt here. Charlie Appy trains one. James Doyle gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 2nd of April at Sandown. 1 mile Class 2 handicap, the Easter Cup. He finished third by 3 1/4 lengths that day. He neither weakened out of it, but never quickened up either. He just kind of plodded along. I thought it was an okay effort. Come to a little bit of a longer trip, which I think he's been crying out for on the firm ground. I think he could really improve. It was his first race on turf, and he showed potential. 2 back on Chelmsford on the 31st of May. 1 mile in the Cardinal Stakes, conditions race on the poly track. He finished fourth by 7 1/4 lengths that day, and he just never really quickened up. He kind of hit the wall there. Maybe with the quick turnaround, he needed the race. And then at Kempton, 1 mile on the road to the Kentucky Derby conditions race. He won by a nose. He sat back early. He slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done. I do like him going to the mile and a quarter. He has some further pace if he wants to use it. 12-1, we're going to use him on the ticket. You also have to use the 5-horse here, Honiton for Godolphin and John Gosden. Frankie gets on this one. Most recently, the main race at Sandown, a mile and a quarter last Saturday. He won by 9 lengths that day, and on the front end, he just kept going. A very good race for him there. 2 back at Newcastle, 24th of May, a mile and a quarter in a novice race. He finished third by 2 1/4 lengths there, and he never really got going. And then before that, in a Class 3 handicap, Chester over the mile 5/16, he finished second by 2 3/4 lengths that day. He was with them early on, but he just got beat by a slightly classier horse who was just a little bit gamer on the front end. But this horse come to a mile and a quarter, has some further pace on the speed favoring course. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets the job done. Definitely using in your place pot. But to recap my selection for the 535, the 6th race from Ascot's the Golden Gates handicap. Let's take the 6-horse Blue Trail. Give kudos to the 5-horse Hannington. I said the wrong part, me. We'll go 6-5-11 Tricast Trifecta, 6-5 in your place pot. The nightcap of the Royal Meeting from Ascot, the 7th race, the 6-10. It's the Queen Alexandra handicap. It's a Class 3 handicap going for a purse $135,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Or excuse me, it's not a handicap, it's a conditions race, I believe. They're going we have a field here of 13 horses in the Queen Alexandra going the distance of ground of 4,400 meters, or about 2 miles and 3/4 on the turf course. It's one of the longest races, if not the longest race in the UK over the flat. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 11 horse here, who is the 11 horse Wordsworth. Let's go 11-8-5 in their Tricast Trifecta. 11-8-5 Tricast Trifecta. Top selection 11 horse Wordsworth. For called by Galileo, Aidan O'Brien trains one. Ryan Moore gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 24th of May at the Curragh. Good ground, a mile and a half in the Orby Stakes, and he finished third by 4 3/4 lengths that day. And he just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. Never had the good turn of foot. Maybe needed the race. Also a little bit too short. Coming here to a longer 2 miles 6 furlongs, where I think this horse really could stay. I think the horse could run a good race. 2 back ran the Group 3 Cigarro Stakes at Ascot, 2 miles on the 27th of April, and he finished fourth by half length that day. He sat back early. He moved his way up. He just couldn't get there late after a little bit of a troubled trip, but he showed his heart out there. And then at Gower in a mile 5/8 in a conditions race, he won by a head, and from a tracking position, he got the job done. His races last fall weren't half bad. He ran a good second place finish in the Grand Prix de Paris, a decent third in the Irish Derby, a decent second in the Queen's Vase here last season. I think he wants to stay. He has a good posture. Gets Ryan up. Aidan O'Brien in conditions race in the UK. They're going to get very heavy bet, but I think he's a very likely winner. I think your second likeliest winner here is the number 8 horse, the 8 horse Nate the Great. Daniel Thudhope's on this one for Andrew Balding. Most recently in Henry II at Sandown over the 2 miles, he finished second by 1 3/4 lengths, and he just couldn't catch Quickthorn, who had the jump on this one. But before that one in Newmarket over the mile 6 a week prior, very, very nicely. He's another horse. I think he wants to stay. He should get a good trip here today on the firm ground. I'll give him a shot here at 8-1, but if it rains today and we see very, very soft ground, I don't want to be a mile near him, because I don't think he should handle the soft ground. He likes firm ground. But to recount my selection for the 6-10, the 7th race from Ascot's to Queen Alexandra, let's take the 10 horse here. Excuse me, the 11 horse here, Wordsworth as a top selection. We'll give kudos to the 8 horse Nate the Great. 11-8-5 Tricast Trifecta. 11-8 in your plays pot. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 and join me tomorrow for my Prix de Diane preview from Shanti. Good luck, everybody.